Hey, I'm Dean and this is Legacy Voyage. In Season 1, I'm documenting my journey to earning my first 100K net worth as a full-time college student. Join me as I share some of the lessons I learned along the way. Wow, I cannot believe I'm saying this, but it's been an entire year. It's the first anniversary of me putting out my very first podcast. And I want to backtrack and tell that story of how I even started this, why I did this in the first place. Coming into school, college admissions is really, really tough, especially if you don't have someone to hold your hand and really guide you through the entire journey. So for me, I'm a senior in high school, and really, it's kind of crazy because some of these juniors, they start thinking about college, even sophomores and freshmen, they start thinking about college like right there. And then they line up all their classes and have the perfect schedule and do all the clubs and sports and all the extracurriculars to pad their resume as a high schooler. Some of them even do internships. They do internships as a high schooler. That's just insane to me. And so you have these high schoolers who are planning from a super young age that they're going to go to this college and they're trying to fill up their resume with all these things. And then here I am. I'm a junior going into senior year. This is summer and I'm not even thinking about college. Like, I haven't even started the application process or writing essays or all these things that you got to do if you want to go to college. Because really, I didn't have someone to hold my hand through the whole thing. And granted, I did have more guidance than, like, I didn't, it wasn't like I had absolutely no one there to show me the way. Like, there were resources and there were people out there, like, you had the counselor, but I just never really got close with them, so I really didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to game the system. But luckily, I had this scholarship, this caddy scholarship, and I was like, you know what? I got this. Like, I was so overconfident and I was so proud of the GPA and the Tongan background. Like, there's no way that I don't get into some of these colleges. And so, my slow self, I only applied to 4 colleges, literally 4 colleges. And so, the easiest one to get into, it had something like a 50% acceptance rate, somewhere around there. And then the other 3, they were harder to get into. So the third one was like a 20% something. But then the other 2 were super, super tough schools to get into. They were like less than 8% or something crazy like that. And so I was like, you know what? I'll get into my safe school for sure, for sure. But the other ones, we'll have to see on that. I mean, I'll probably get into those. So couple weeks, couple months pass by, and then college admissions decisions, they all finally come out. And I'm stressing out. As I'm opening the first one, I'm in Disneyland and I'm waiting in line. And suddenly there's this buzz on my phone. And I open my phone and there's this email that says, "Oh, look, you have your decisions ready. Go ahead, head to the website, log in, and see what you got." And my hands are shaking right now. Like, my heart is beating out of my chest. I'm sweating like crazy. And I slowly pull out my phone. My hands are shaking, and I kind of lower my finger to touch the button so I can log into the thing. And I finally get into it, and there's my decision. And I got denied. And this really, really hit me hard. Because it wasn't like a tough school that was like an 8% acceptance rate. This was my safe school. It was supposed to be the school I was like, my worst case scenario, if I didn't get into any other school, at least I got into here. And I just got denied. And so my brain is stressing out. I'm freaking out about all the opportunities. Like, oh my goodness, what did I do? I'm not going to go to college. This is not going to work out. And so I'm just stressing out of my mind about everything. And keep in mind, I'm at Disneyland. Like, this is supposed to be the happiest place on earth. I'm supposed to be having a good time. It was senior ditch day, so we drove down there for the day with all of my senior class. And it's supposed to be a good time, but I just found out that I didn't get into my safe school. And fast forward, I hear back from the other schools. Second school was Michigan that I heard back from. Something like a 20% acceptance rate. Didn't get in. Next school I heard from was Chicago, University of Chicago. And I hear back from this school. No, actually, the second one I heard back from was Chicago. Didn't get into that one. Michigan, didn't get into that one. And so those are my 4 schools. Oh my goodness, I'm freaking out. I might not go to college. And then I remember I was working out this one day because I was like stressed out of my mind from school and I'm not going to go to college. And I'm like, you know what? I need a break. I'm going to just go and forget about all this. Just go work out. And so I go to the gym and I'm at this pull-up machine. And pull-up is probably one of the toughest workouts, at least for me. And so I like have it weighted so it can assist me. And so I have it on the assist thing and then I'm pulling up and then I get this text from someone, and I opened this and I'm like, oh, it's from a friend, and she's like, hey, did you see the decisions? I was like, what decisions? Yeah, Northwestern decisions just came out. Open your phone. I was like, oh my goodness, this is it. This is it. And so this was like make it or break it. Literally everything, all the 12 years that I've poured into school for this college acceptance letter. And I'm opening it and I'm freaking out because I might not get accepted. And this school's super tough to get into. And I'm just stressed out of my mind. And I finally open it up and it says, congrats. And there's a whole bunch of confetti that flies everywhere. I was like, oh, let's go. I made it into the school. And so I'm hyped. Like, literally, it was like the world just lifted off of my chest. And now I can breathe again and I can relax. And then, of course, senioritis hits like crazy after that. But that's the story of how I eventually ended up at Northwestern. And I was super, super excited to get out here. Like, it was a tough school. And I was like, yeah, I'm that guy, I got into the school. And growing up, it was all, it's how it is in the culture, the Tongan culture, Polynesians. We like to stick together. And it's just how it is. We always have family who's there for us. Even throughout my summers where I would come out here to Chicago for 7 weeks and I would be a golf caddy. Even then, I had my cousin who was right there with me all the time. And so coming out here for college, I'm super excited and I'm loving it. And then it really hits. It's the very first time in my entire life where I'm the only Polynesian around. I'm literally the only Tongan. And there's all these things that came together which made it super, super tough. Where I was struggling with school because school is not easy out here and I have to stay on top of that. Then I'm also trying to adjust to this college life where we have school, then we have this social life, and then on top of that, I'm trying to stay on top of my own health, like my personal, physical, and mental health, all these things. And then on top of all of that, I'm also trying to go and do things outside of school, like get involved in a business or some clubs or something like that where I can go and do something. And all of these things, I'm trying to juggle all of them in my life. And I'm 17 years old at the time, or 18, I think. And I don't know what to do because this is, on top of all of those things, I'm lonely. Like, this is the first time where I'm literally just me and I'm all by myself. And that was really tough. And so when all of these things were crashing down on me and my mental health was in a really, really bad spot, I remember I was binge eating actually, like how I always did last year. And especially when I was stressed out or didn't know how to balance everything, I would just go to the dining hall and I would binge eat. And it was after I was binge eating. And usually what I would do is I would listen to podcasts. And this podcast was saying, just start doing the thing. Like, go out and just start doing it. And I kept hearing that messaging over and over and over again. I was like, you know what? So I stopped. I walked outside the door. And as I was walking, I said, I didn't even say anything. I literally pulled out my phone out of my pocket as my AirPods were in my ear. And then I clicked on the Apple Memos voice memo app. And I started recording. I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. And then I just start talking. And as I'm talking, just a whole bunch of random ideas come into my mind and they come out of my mouth. And I'm just going on and on and on about this thing. And I have no idea where it's going to lead. Like, as I was walking, I probably said it in the podcast. I was like, I don't know what this is going to be. I don't know if it's going to keep on continuing. But I think it would be sick. Like, really, if you think about it, I think it would be sick if 10 years from now, I'm looking back at my very first podcast or even this 1 year anniversary podcast. I'm like, wow, that's what I was going through. And so that was the genesis of Legacy Voyage and what this eventually became. And I'm really happy that I'm on this journey. And I've grown so much since the first episode. And I hope to continue growing a year from now and even 5-10 years from now, because it's been an amazing journey. And it will take ages. It'll actually take super, super long for me to go through and really hit on a whole bunch of highlights that I've gone through over this past year. But the most life-changing part of this past year, or at least the anniversary since I started this podcast, has been those 3 months or the summer that I spent where I was really, really focusing on myself. And there's 3 books with 3 huge lessons that I want to hit on that I think are really, really important and have taught me a lot and really changed the way I think about things and live my life. And those 2 things are, first, start with why. Now, start with why is really, really powerful And I hope to do a G-Boat summary on this eventually, but start with why. It was like my entire life, I've always been motivated by this dream, this goal to make my mom proud. And it was something that hit me when I was super little. I must have been like second or first grade. But after that moment, I was really, really mad at my mom. And then I realized, why am I mad at her? The single mother who's working 3 jobs to provide for 4 kids, and she's going above and beyond to give me everything that I need and want, and I'm mad at her. And then I realized, why would I be mad at her? And then I had this mission, or this Tongan dream of, I'm gonna make my mom the proudest woman ever. And then that's what I did. So I did all the things in high school, got the straight A's, did the football thing, did the seminary thing, and then I get to college and I get into the college with the scholarship, and I'm like, okay, I think I did it. Like, I think I have done it. I think I made her proud. Now what? And so the reason, not the reason, but one of the many reasons why my mental health had just took a huge plunge is because I lost that. I lost my why of the reason why I was doing all these things that I wanted to do. And this gets into another big lesson that I learned from Infinite Game. And this is another really, really good book where it's the same type of idea. As the kids, we're always taught, okay, once you hit this, then you move on to the next thing, and then you win that game. So it's like, as an elementary kid, you get to 6th grade, or for me, elementary was in 6th grade. So you get to 6th grade, and your teacher always telling you, you think they're going to let you do that in middle school? Well, once you get to middle school, they're not going to let you turn in late assignments and all this and that. And then you get to middle school and they're like, okay, we're preparing you for high school. And then you eventually you win the middle school game, and then you go on to high school, and then you do all those things. And then you win the high school game, and then you go on to college. And it's one game after the next after the next. And I got to this point where I was just living for those games, those finite games. And then eventually I get to college and I'm like, what is this all for? Like, isn't all of this just for me to go and get a job? And even if that's what it's all for, after I get a job, then what is it for? And it ties into start with why of, why am I doing this in the first place? But this idea of infinite games, where there are certain games that just never end. There are certain games like marriage where the point of the game isn't to win at marriage. The point of the game is to enjoy it, is to grow and learn with the person that you marry, and then play the game with them forever, which is why it's the infinite game. And the point of business isn't to go out and win at business. The point of business is to stay in business and enjoy it. And all these, that huge frame shift really put things into perspective for me of, my health game isn't some 2-week goal or 6-month journey of, okay, I'm going to go get a 6-pack by this time. My health game is infinite. It's not that I win health. It's that I am on this path or this road to becoming healthy, and I'm enjoying it and the person that I'm becoming. So that was another huge mental shift that I had over the summer. And then the final thing that I want to share, and there's so much more actually, especially around like pragmatism. So maybe I'll share that after this one. But another book that I really, really loved was Almanac of Naval. And this is like a super genius. And I actually did a summary on this one a while back, so definitely check that one out. But really, the biggest idea that I gained from this was my success equation. And this entire time while I'm working through all of these, I was like, okay, success is when you make $1 billion. Like, that's what I thought success was. Once I have $1 billion in the bank account, then boom, that is success. And thinking back to it now, like, that is actually wild. That is crazy to think that that's what success is. But over time, I've come to have more of a nuanced view of things of, okay, success isn't just you make all the money, because there's plenty of people who make the money, but they hate their lives and they're absolutely miserable. And so I got to this point where I was like, okay, success isn't just about that. And Naval Ravikant calls it like his success equations or something like that. But I kind of changed a few things and put it into my own terms, where I think there are different types of success. And really, for each person, you got to figure out what that is for yourself. What does success look like for you? And so I thought about this a bunch, and I defined it as this. This is my 3 things that is success. And that's my health, my relationships, and wealth, in that order. Because if I can take care of myself and make sure that I'm the best person I could possibly be for the ones that I love, I can be there for the ones that I love, and they can support me on the projects that I'm doing and for my wealth, then everything will work out. And so if I love myself so that I can love my people, so that I can love my work, all those things line up. And that was the biggest thing that I learned from that book. And then there was a huge other mental shift that I had, which was all about cash value. Because there's this guy by the name of William James, and I dove deep into his stuff. Now I'm obsessed with this whole pragmatism and philosophy type stuff, but it's this way of thinking where you look at the value that something brings to your life. If I go out and I look at the value that these 3 past mental shifts that I was talking about, if I look at the cash value of those things, they bring a positive value to my life. And it doesn't stop at like these mindsets or beliefs. It can go on to like real things. What's the cash value of my laptop? What's the cash value of my phone? Of even people in my lives that I want to be around and surround myself with? All of these things, and I put it under this umbrella of what is the cash value? And so those were some of the biggest lessons and takeaways that I had in this past year of recording my journey of Legacy Voyage. And I just hope that someone out there listening to this learned something through all of this struggle and hardships and lessons and failures and successes, all this journey that I've had throughout this past year. I just hope someone is listening and learns something and applies it to their life. I think that would be the coolest thing. And even my future self who's listening to this 5-10 years from now, what's up? I'm wondering what you're up to right now. And I hope you're doing cool things and you love the things you're doing and doing them with people that you love. But yeah, episode was kind of different. Didn't really follow a certain format because it was just the big points around this past year and all the lessons that I've learned. And I'll look forward and probably expand my episode catalog formats in the future. But yeah, look forward to a G-Boat summary of Atomic Habits in a little bit. Hope this was helpful and looking forward to another year. I record these episodes completely free to share success with everyone. So the only thing I ask is that if you learned anything or found something interesting in this episode, just leave a review and share it with a friend. Only takes 5 seconds and it would mean the world. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next episode. Tatok, see you.